All right. So we are looking live with Hogan from H4 Fabrication. Fabworks.
Yep.
And Hogan agreed to come in today and talk about his business, his fabrication business, and the challenges of running a fabrication business. And I guess you're setting up a contractor's license, so you're able to do larger scale projects and jobs.
Yep, that just came in the mail. It's all official now.
And you might want to scoot up just a little bit. How long of a process was that?
Oh man, I sent the paperwork off in mid-October or so, and I just got it in the mail this week. So months. Sometimes it's quicker than others. They had one thing I had to adjust real quick. I guess there was somewhere in there was two different business names, one on my insurance and one on whatever down. It was slightly different. One said corporation, one said incorporated or whatever. So I had to send that back in, and that took, after that took another month. And
so you had to take a test prior to that, though.
Yes.
So you have to take it's a study course for a certain amount of hours and then a test.
Yeah, it's I did it right at the business center in Roseburg here. Go in there a couple days. They teach you everything you need to know. Do the test, and they send it all out. And then you get your certificate saying you passed. Then once you get all that, you have to get your insurance, your bond, all that, proof of it, your insurance. Then you can send all that to the state to get your license. And they look it over, double check everything. So it's a little bit of a process. It takes a little bit.
And so assuming you can get all that together, because a bond is no easy thing to get. Did you purchased one through the insurance company? Or?
Yep. So I talked to an insurance guy I knew, who some of my friends went to. Said, hey, here's what's going on. This is the type of work I'm doing. This is, I need insurance, bond, all that stuff. And they basically talked to me, wrote something up that's very common for the type of work I do. It's a pretty big one, and got that all set up, and they were able to send it out for me and all that, and made it super easy for me. I just pretty much swiped my card. So.
That sounds real close to the dealership I was looking at. Like the process sounds almost identical. Mm-hmm. How bad did that set you back monetarily?
Oh geez. So the original insurance was going to be about, $3,500 a year or something like that. Not too horrible, but there's a local company that they basically needed it in writing. I needed a couple things in writing to say something else to get, so I could be a contractor for them. So because of that, it ended up being like tacking on a little extra, and it being like $5,500 a month. Can't remember what the bond was off the top of my head. It was not that much, So yeah, it costs a little bit. I think I had to give them like a $1,500 down payment or whatever.
Well, it costs from the point of view for you to invest in your business. Mm-hmm. You have to go out, make that money, and then turn around and hand it off to somebody else, and not tens of dollars, but tens of thousands of dollars, just to be able to get to.
I wish I'd have to figure out how much it cost me to really get started. I didn't. It's in my phone somewhere if I sat there and looked it up. But yeah, you're talking. I did that from start to finish to get everything I kind of wanted to get, all my insurance, all my stuff. It probably cost me $5,000 or $6,000 right off the bat with everything I needed. It might be a little high, but right away, that's how much out of pocket I had to basically pay to get going. And
that doesn't guarantee you work. It doesn't guarantee you customers. It doesn't guarantee you anything. It just gives you the ability.
It gives me the ability, the legal ability, I guess.
So what kind of... that's the part that was interesting to me, because I don't see a lot of fabricators with contractor's license.
Yeah, not a whole lot have them, because you don't always need one. You know, if I'm sitting in my shop building parts, welding parts, fixing stuff, don't need one.
Right.
But if I want to go into a mill, into a facility, into somewhere public, something like that, almost always you have to have one. Not always, but it's pretty much you do.
Yeah, and it doesn't. You always think, if you got a stack of 2x4s and you want them nailed together, then you got to have a contractor do it. Or
Right.
if you're going to hire it out. But you don't think about it like that with metal.
I mean, technically, if you build something and charge the customer less than $2,000, you don't need a contractor's license. So I mean, I guess I could charge them to $1,999 multiple times. If you really want to get around it, but then it's getting fishy, and it's just not. It's not really the way to do it.
Well, say, let's see. Well, if that cab guard there, if we built that and hung a $2,100 price tag on it, does that mean we need a contractor's license?
No. If you look at the definition of why you need a contractor's license, off the top of my head, I looked up like a month ago.
Yeah.
It said basically if you renovate a place and add value to a place of inhabitants, I think, off the top of my head, I think that's what it says, or a place of business. So yeah, you build a truck part, it doesn't matter. You build something in your shop. And
because it's not affixed to the structure.
I want to say that's kind of how they word it, off the top of my head.
Yeah,
So,
because if it were affixed, it would be a structure, and
either a structure or on a piece, or I think they word it like property or something like that.
Sure.
So it's not really, if I go out and fix some guy's handrail at his house or build a handrail, that's technically something you probably have a contractor's license for.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If I go out and weld a muffler on his truck, it probably doesn't matter. You don't need one.
I mean, it is an added cost to your overhead, but it's also, if you leverage it, it should be an asset.
Right.
That will pay for itself with bigger jobs
Exactly.
And,
you can get into bigger jobs, especially if you're like, hey, this is my business, this is what I do, licensed, bonded, insured, here's my contractor's number. They know you mean business. They know you're not just some backyard guy. Usually you really know what's going on.
Right.
Not just anyone who wants to do this.
So they take it gives you more credibility.
Exactly.
And okay, so it opens another can of worms though, because then don't you have more estimating, more contracts, more administrative to do after that?
Yeah, you do. I mean, you'll have people send you a blueprint. They'll say, hey, come look at this. Hey, give me a bid on that. And you can run around all day bidding crap, looking at stuff, and then, not get a job or, waste some time. And some people charge for bids, some don't. I don't usually, unless they're enormous, but usually I can look at it in a couple hours. I can give them an estimate on it.
Okay, so that's interesting. With your customers and in your line of work, you don't see a lot of. I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this, but a lot of people that come to you that want a project, we'll say, and then they get the quote due to inflation and cost of everything going up, and you never hear from them again.
Well, that happens. I had, for instance, I had a customer. I built him some water tanks before, and I built him about one or two every year for a few years. And the year about the same time came around, and the gentleman's like, "Hey, can you give me a couple, price on a couple of tanks?" I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." Told him my labor rate was the same, price was this because of material, and he said, "Can't afford it, too much."
That's a fair answer. I mean,
but how it is, it happens how it is.
But at least it's an honest answer.
Yeah, I'm like, hey,
I can work with that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I got to talk to my wife, or geez, I'm waiting on this, and you never hear from. That
happens too. I mean, people expect something to be cheaper than you can get it online, and usually it's the opposite.
Almost every time.
Almost every time. The quality, I can almost guarantee you, I'll make it nicer, better, thicker, stronger, but it probably won't be as cheap. Sometimes, maybe. But
and cheap isn't even a good word.
Yeah.
Because that's quality.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, if somebody's buying something because it's cheap, then they already should understand the quality that they're going to be getting.
Well, some people don't understand that little triangle where it says cheap or not expensive.
Good, fast, and cheap.
Exactly.
Yeah. I use that one all the time.
They don't understand that. So.
But it's true. You always have to have a. You really can only have two.
No, it's at least I don't want to do that. So.
Well, so then that's an interesting conundrum because if you're catering to a price-oriented customer,
you're gonna get cheap work.
You're going to be in a tight spot all the time.
Yeah, I did this side business, I guess, on the side for years since I was a teenager, and I, taking pretty much anything, do it. Didn't have much overhead. Didn't really cost me nothing. Wouldn't charge what I need to charge because I didn't have to. Now, I have to charge really what it takes to do it. I can't be like, it take me like a half hour and charge them like $20. Now it's like, it takes me a half hour, I got to charge half my rate or an hour rate minimum. I do that a lot. It's a lot different. So
for the little
little stuff,
projects.
And, for good friends, I'll bust something out real quick, but I can't just be doing that all day because it just takes too much time. It's not, by the time I get my welder up, trying to set something up, do all that, and then get a hold of the customer. I can't do 10 little baby projects all day. Sometimes I'll bust out a bunch in one day,
but you'd be out of gas and wire and you couldn't pay your power bill after a month of doing that.
Yeah, I've been trying to lately get more bigger, longer lasting jobs that take, I don't mind doing a job that maybe takes a half a day, but I'm trying to get stuff that's like 1 day, 2 days long, like something that's going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, because you get on a project and your head's in it, you're ready to go, and I don't really care for the jobs that are small and quick. I've been doing that for years and years. I'm just want something with a little bit of sustainability, I guess. Well,
that's it right there. Because if you're just trying to piece together $200 jobs all the time, it's
tough.
There's not much runway there.
No, unless I do a $200 job all the time, it took me 10 minutes.
Right.
And it doesn't always happen. Every now and then I get kind of lucky, but I'd rather have a job that take a couple days at least, or at least a solid day.
But then you get into another set of headaches, so you got to have more equipment, more people, more this.
Yeah, and I've been saving, buying equipment since I was a teenager. Some of the stuff I had.
And you're how old now?
29.
So you've been doing this for a solid 10 years?
Oh, yeah. About 16 years old when I started welding at a real shop. I even welded before that a little bit on the farm, but 16 years old was like when I really started getting after it. Back then I just had a MIG welder, grinder, all that stuff. The basics of what you start with. Then I ended up getting tube bender, tube notcher, did cage stuff, did bumpers. Kind of got out of that though. It's hard to make money. I noticed
it's too much hobby. It's too hobby oriented, isn't it?
I think so.
Racing
or
and stuff.
People want a bumper built. Then I'm like, tubing's this much. Time's probably this much. But you can buy one online for like $300 or $400. I'm like, man, I really can't beat that price.
You can't.
And so I tell people nowadays, I'm like, I'm not really into doing bumpers. I'll modify one. I'll do a couple things here and there. If they have a bumper kit on it welded together, I'll bust that out. But I'm not really into building bumpers anymore. I have files on my, for my computer, for my plasma table to do bumpers, and I'll do them for my buddy or myself, but just not really into it.
So you do have the ability to. That's not a bad deal though. Just chopping them up, is it?
No, I've actually cut bumper parts out for people, and just the parts alone, like, here you go, and they weld them together. I've gotten kits that people bring me, and I weld them together. That's not bad, but just the hardest part is like, I got this pickup, I need a bumper for it. Some random pickup, no one really has one. It's not like a Toyota or something really common.
So you can't get an SVG from Etsy to make a bumper.
You can never get a pre-made file usually. And by the time I figured out the mounts, designed it, everything I did, I'm in it a couple thousand bucks, and I can't charge that for some little bumper. It just doesn't make sense. So sometimes it's kind of hard.
Well, that's kind of what I want to talk about a little bit. You brought that up. The getting set up and getting a product, having a product that you're selling. If you're wanting to sell a service that's larger or whatever, but that step, from being, you're talking about in high school doing side jobs. That's a whole trade culture in itself. And then, as you grow out of that and you become, a bigger, business entity, it's hard to shift your customers in that mindset because they're used to the side job mentality.
Yeah.
And
sometimes you got to fire customers. It sucks. I've had a lot of good customers that, I started doing this professionally or full time or whatever, and can't give them the deals I used to anymore, or can't, or just my prices went up, and they gotta try to understand that, and some of them do and say, hey, that's cool, I just can't afford it, or hey, it's cool, let's do it anyway. Mm-hmm. It's back and forth.
Yeah, but with the what I want to ask is, so now that you're on the other side of the fence, mm-hmm. how do you look at the side job hustle from where you're at now?
Like how I look at it for other people or myself?
No, so when you look back and you see other people now doing the side job hustle, mm-hmm. When you're in it professionally.
A lot of times, the work I don't want to do, don't have time to do, I'll send to them. Mm-hmm. And some of the guys I know that kind of still do it on the side, be cool if they went full time sometime, because some of them are pretty dang good. You just gotta, it's scary, but you gotta make the jump one day. I don't know, they might one day, but yeah, I was there one time too, I guess.
There's a ton of people around that are talented mm-hmm. tradespeople. Yeah. Different trades, all kinds. But they'll punch a clock their whole life.
Yeah.
And that's always interesting to me, because I always figure if you're able to, master a craft, you should be able to handle the business. But the business, it sucks.
Business part is hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
I think that's why most people are like, well, no. Like I worked, I've been on my own full time since August, so not very long.
So you're just now
oh, yeah.
you just now filed the paperwork for the whole deal, huh?
Yeah, let's see. Back in the middle of summer, I redid my business name, structured it differently, because I actually had business set up before, even my side stuff, but I structured it in S corp and did it differently. Then a few months later, I quit the mill. I've been working at the mills basically since I was 19, 20? No, I was 20. And I quit one time and then came right back and then was there just until recently. So, I know a ton of talented people that super good at what they do and they would kick butt, but it's the insurance, it's the steady paycheck, it's stuff like that.
You don't get that with your own business?
Not unless you pay for it. I don't get a steady paycheck. I don't get awesome insurance unless you pay for it.
I thought all you had to do was just turn the open sign on and the money filled your bank account.
Yeah. People just roll in and give you cash every day for no reason.
So you have to hustle a little bit?
Yeah, you gotta hustle a lot.
And so you do quite a bit of social media.
I try to, yeah. We talked earlier, I had my Instagram. That's kind of where I like Instagram a lot, because I see other welders, other builders, other people doing similar type work, and I like seeing what they do, how they do it. We, converse back and forth. Hey, how do you do this job? Or how'd you do that? Oh, what's that? That's a cool tip. That's a cool trick. We go back and forth, and I've learned so much from Instagram. Learned so much. It's insane. You always want to learn, and it's endless on there. Stuff you can learn. Yeah,
I've had an Instagram account since before it was owned by Facebook. Because I've never been Facebook is just a toxic place, right. And I don't like to go there.
The marketplace, and that isn't even amazing.
No, I've been using OfferUp.
I want the old Craigslist.
Exactly, but so marketing is tough, especially here. Like I don't think nationwide. Let's just we'll say around here. I don't think your traditional marketing works anymore. You might get a few hits. A radio ad. I don't even know if you can find a phone book to advertise in anymore.
I wouldn't. A lot honestly. I mean,
I don't even know when the last time I picked up a newspaper or a magazine has been.
oh, it's been a while.
Yeah, I don't even know if I can.
I
don't even know this.
I used to go to Uncle Shopper here and there.
Yeah,
Remember that one?
Yeah.
I still think they still have it, but every now and then you find some good stuff in there.
yeah.
I just don't go anymore.
But the volume, the access, it's just not. It just doesn't. It really. It's so much easier for me to pick up my phone and go, because whatever I've been liking on there is going to come right up to the top.
Right.
And I'm going to see what you cut on your CNC today. I'm going to see 10 other people's projects in 30 seconds. And if I want to hit them up or talk to them or whatever, they're right there.
I think my biggest works best for me that I don't even really do it is just word of mouth.
Yeah,
that's pretty huge in this small town. I mean,
I'm pretty terrible about it too.
I mean, a lot of times it's just someone calls me and like, hey, you need to use this. I got my number, your number from so and so. Okay, just so you know. Mm-hmm. And I happen to know a lot. I'm here, so I know a lot of people.
Well, there used to not be a lot of people here. Now there's a lot of people here.
So yeah, the word of mouth helps a ton. Or I post and I'm like, so a friend of a friend saw something I built or saw something I made, or I built some parts for a customer a while back, and then 5 years ago, and now it's that company he works for, or operates or whatever, is one of my best customers now, because they said, hey, go to this guy, let's do some work with him. So stuff like that. I did good work for him back in the day, and kind of returned the favor. Pretty awesome. And friends who are supervisors or high up in certain places say, oh, I know a guy, let's get him in here. If I do quality work, they're going to keep me. And so a lot of it is word of mouth or who I know. That does help a lot.
It helps a lot, and then quality of work is huge.
Yeah, it speaks for itself.
I mean, I would rather focus on quality when I'm getting a project done than the price, because you're going to know whether you're getting your money's worth pretty quick, Yeah. And it can go the wrong way, but the quality aspect, people will talk about that because they'll see it. That will spread.
You could do 10 jobs, amazing. You do one job that's a little off,
and you're gonna hear about it.
And they'll hear about it forever. It's crazy,
But the they have to give you the ability. It's that good, the good, fast, cheap thing. It's like, as a customer, they have to be willing to give you the time, materials, and whatever you need to make it so that you're comfortable doing it. Because if you're all jammed up, it's not going to be quality.
No, don't be rushed.
And it doesn't. You're not going to get a good product, and there's no reason to do that. It's just the way that the world, because everything's functioning around the cost.
Right.
And the cost is it's a legitimate thing, but it shouldn't. I see it undermine so many potentially good projects.
Right.
You see somebody and they got a quote and they took the lowest one, and you can tell they took the lowest one.
Well, sometimes for city projects or counties, or I know certain places, I think it works like that. They need something done. I think it is for the city or something that has to do with that.
With procurement or something like that.
Yeah, you basically they have to take the lowest bidder, which I don't know if there's any way around that, but I know that's usually how it works. They take the lowest bidder. And
unless they have a few mechanisms like that.
Maybe they can get around it, right?
Or for that these days. It used to be a slam dunk for anybody who, was on the procurement list. Now, at least where I used to work, we had a procurement list, and they vetted the vendors a lot harder, because they had a lot of problems with just taking anything they could get. And what they started doing was they started pulling safety records and just different ways of verification. There's a few mechanisms for it. And that cleaned it up a lot. So when we would go to get projects, we had it wasn't a quick. It took years, but to get it cleaned up, I mean, it was thousands of people, and multiple vendors. But once it was cleaned up, it was so much better because you could actually pick and choose. And the vendors stayed. It wasn't a revolving door. So you had the ones that had the right price and the right quality and stuff like that, and you could work with them, and it was a way better environment from the customer point of view.
That's cool. Yeah, that needs to happen. I know I did it's been a while, over the summer. I did some job, and I didn't end up winning it. I knew the guy who actually found out the guy who won it, and it was only by a couple $100 too. I mean, a couple $100, all it was. And he won it, which, good for him, whatever, but, like I'm thinking that's how it worked, though. They had to take the lowest bidder, and the guy who got it super well too, so.
There was no loss for them.
No loss at all, but, that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure who they went, who all they contacted, but I was told, sorry, we had to go with someone else, but you were right up in there with the rest of them. I figured out a couple $100 later, so I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's funny how it all comes out in the wash.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah. So what are you, you had done some truck pages, and I know you were doing the 500 swaps.
Yeah, so my Instagram page kind of started blowing up when I had my old second gen. It was a big lifted flatbed on 40s. Built the suspension. I went to Wyotech in Wyoming for my trade school, and it just got really popular. It was a fun truck, 6-speed, a ZF6 swap, peak pump 24 valve. It was a fun truck. And, I post pictures of it, of course, and it was pretty photo friendly. So, got shared a lot on pages and crap like that, and that gained a lot of followers. And then I sold it, and I started doing more of the 500 conversions, and, sold a bunch of those, did a bunch of those for customers. Those are, got featured on a magazine online and a few other stuff like that. So pretty popular. And then I started kind of getting out of that, which I might still do them for people, but I haven't built one for myself in a long time. And then just started doing more of my fab stuff, and kind of took that more serious the last few years, and that's kind of where my page is at now. So I think a lot of those followers still might be my truck followers. But they still like my crap. So.
Yeah. So how many do you have on there?
8,500.
Yeah, I remember it seemed like it was just a little south.
Just at 8,500 like a day ago.
And how many years has that page been up?
Oh shit. It had to be since 2012 or 13, maybe 10. It was.
So it's a solid 10-year page.
Oh yeah.
And you've accumulated 8,500, which is that's a substantial following.
Most of them, I bet, were in the last couple of years has been really stagnant. I don't know how the algorithm works or what happens, but really haven't gained any in the last 5 years or 2 years, I think. Most of them were from probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, we could turn that around in like a week.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Be cool to get to 10K, just, I don't know, just a little milestone kind of thing.
You want to get there?
That'd be cool.
What would that gain you if you did?
I think, you pop up someone's page and say they do welding, say they have a truck, say whatever. You just, in your head, you see, they got over 10,000 people following them.
Something going on here.
Something going on. They're doing something right. They must post good content. People like what they do. Like, in my head, when I open someone's page and they got a couple thousand, I'll look around. But if I open it up and they got a little over 10 or whatever, I'm like, what's going on? I'll really kind of see what they do, And not that I won't follow, I'll follow anyone who has quality content, but most people might see that and be like, oh shit, and they might want to pay more attention to it. And I think they kind of, something like that is just people, are going to be attracted to a bigger number, bigger following. They're going to want to see what's going on.
That's critical mass.
Yeah.
It's always the mainstream effect.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get to 10, then you can take off. Those milestones, like you're stuck in a spot right now.
I think I've been at 8,000 ish for a few years. Like, it has not moved. I don't know.
We could move that in a week and a half.
I bet you could. I don't know. I don't really know why though.
I do.
See, yeah, I'm not.
It's because you're not posting to your reels. You're posting your stories.
Someone was telling me I need to post more reels, and I'm not like a reel master. I'm not really good at doing reels. I
don't think I would take away from anything from what you're doing, because you're doing it.
Yeah, that's a start.
You couldn't edit video 5 years ago in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And now you can edit you know, I mean, I've done 5-minute videos on my phone.
Right. I was doing a little bit of YouTube stuff a while back, and I was doing some of the dirt bike stuff, and I made some pretty long, decent little videos, but man, it took a lot of time. Now I'm like, if I can make a reel that's like 30 seconds or so, I'm like, that's good enough for me. And I haven't made really long ones yet, which I'd like to.
I don't think there's a reason to make long ones.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to get bored with it.
15 seconds. Like I look at my retention. You look at your retentions. You know.
Yeah, every now and then.
Have you switched your? Did you switch to a business account or?
Yeah.
So you can see all your insights and stuff.
I like seeing that stuff. I need to study a little more.
The biggest thing is repetition, consistency. You know all that. And
I suck at it.
So I have, and then you have a solid niche where you have, you know, welding, fab. So it's, but what you have, the reason you will succeed and the reason you can turn that around, I think, is because you have, you know, more. There's two ways you can go. You know, internet is shock value a lot of times, I think. Either people want to see something really old that's maybe unattainable, you know, something, you know, an old steam engine or old Detroit or something, you know, they can't.
That's cool.
I like to see it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, you stumble across it once in a while, but it's unless you're looking for it, it's not a constant constant content that you can provide. But where you have, you have a trigger in front of you all day. You know, you can, I see you set up your cameras, your time lapses and stuff. But that's the biggest thing, is trying to produce something.
For me, it's like taking the time to remember or set up something, because I'm just like, go to Welding, go fix it. I'm like, crap, did I take a before picture what I just fixed? You know, I forget a lot.
You get caught up in it, and it has to be part of your routine. Like I see the people that do it really well. You know, it's baked into their business model,
right?
And they somehow have they either it's, I guess, you know, they're working at their regular rate, but they're taking longer, and then they're subsidizing that with video. I don't know how exactly but I see a lot of people do it well, and it makes really interesting content. I mean, really, like there's a guy back in the East Coast I watch all the time. It's Andrew Carbrena or something like that. He built that castle house out of the containers.
That sounds cool.
It's cool as hell. And all he does is, he'll buy like a piece of machinery or, kind of like, not crazy like what Whistling Diesel does or anything like that.
That's pretty crazy.
But he just buys equipment, you know, snowmobiles and dozers and bucket loaders and stuff, fixes them, gets them running, fixes them. You know, I'm sure he's flipping them in the background, but he uses them for a little bit, makes some videos with them. But it's all older stuff, kind of archaic, but it's cool. Mm-hmm. And the way he does it, there's no music, there's no blingy, glitzy, anything, no fancy transitions, edits. They're just working on stuff, doing things, and
yeah, a lot of people can still appreciate that. And sometimes I'll watch a video and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to hear this truck or whatever. They put some awful music or loud music over it, like, like not always. But I mean, if I post a picture of a part and like it's not gonna make a noise, so I'll put music on it. But if someone's doing a burnout in a truck, I want to hear that. That's just me though.
So you won't get any reach without music.
That's the thing. You gotta have something on there. I've noticed some guys will do a little bit quiet music. You'll hear it, but you'll still hear the sweet, sound or whatever.
I just learned that one around Christmas time, and it made all the difference in the world.
Right.
Leaving that background audio in there and the lower, but I had to put like a trending audio song in there. Because if I just use whatever I wanted to use or whatever,
no music crap.
No,
that's what I do. No music crap.
Yeah, but if you use a trending song, turn it down. It's still there, but it's still.
Try that. I got some stuff I need to build this week, so we'll see.
Yeah, if you can find one that you're hearing constant over and over again, and if you can work with that, that made a big difference. It's something I found lately that's been working.
Oh, maybe that's right.
But the starting and stopping and trying to film your work, and it is, if you don't have somebody with you that's 100% committed to that.
Oh yeah.
so that you know, to be able to pick up and clean up, move the cameras and all this stuff.
I know some people just set up GoPros and stuff like that, and so they don't have to really mess with a whole lot. They'll set it up and then later go chop it, edit it, whatever, take pictures from it, or however they do that. I don't know, screenshot the video or whatever. And yeah, they'll do that, and so they don't have to do a whole lot. They just do their job and then capture some cool pics. And
it's a good way to do it because you can. I mean, if you have an hour of good video, I mean, you can chop that thing 6 ways from Sunday and
make some awesome, quick little short clip.
Yeah. I've been regurgitating some stuff that I've had sitting in my hard drive for 2 years. 3 years,
right.
And just because it's all, I just didn't have it. It's been cloudy and crappy.
That sucks too. Like, if I do an outside project, go take a picture if it's raining and it's snowing, it's like, this ain't gonna really look good. So
yeah,
sometimes it is what it is,
But I've been like stacking up a lot of it, and then try to use it seasonally and just get ahead of it. But it's a conscious effort. But I look at it as it saves me paying the radio station or somebody else. Yeah, I'm having to do it. But the biggest benefit, and I meant to mention this earlier, but it creates a resume for you. All those pictures and reels and projects and stuff, that everybody's like, oh, you're just posting stuff on the internet. Well, it's actually becoming your resume,
Right.
And if you're working it, and if you're keeping it, organized and clean and stuff like that, it's a heck of a lot better than dragging out a bunch of printed pictures and putting it on their desk. They don't want to look at that.
So my business cards I'm going to do next, so I'm actually almost out. I'm going to have, the QR code or whatever linked for my Instagram and Facebook. So, if someone wants to go in there, they can click on it, see what it's all about, And
well, more people are doing that now.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not dealing with the people that are doing the work now are your age, and I've been kind of laughing to myself in the background, because I think you'd fall in the millennial class generationally, pretty close to the
1994, so whatever that is.
Yeah, you're pretty close at the bottom of it, right?
Yeah.
But there was the whole, the millennials, they aren't working, they aren't doing this, they aren't doing that. I mean, that's every generation, but it was made to be such a big deal. But I know so many people in your age groups that are doing so much, like, and a lot of them, they get pretty decent recognition for it. I mean, I'm like, well, good on you. But it's that transition from the traditional advertising in business to the there was like that 5-year span. This last 5 years, like there's been so many businesses that have gone from either brick and mortar to their garage, or from traditional advertising to just strictly online.
Right.
But when it shifted, it created a blind spot almost, like there was like 2 advertising vehicles that were in existence still. Right. There was half the people over here and half the people over here, but it seems like the more time goes on, it's just more going to the digital means.
Yeah. Like with the, like my business cards I'm going to do, like I said, there'll still be a phone number on there. If someone wants to call it, like someone who's older, doesn't really do social media or whatever, keeping it simple still too. So,
what do you get for phone calls? That's a curiosity.
Yeah, I probably get a couple a day, and
how many messages do you get, or how many that are work related?
Let's see. On Facebook, I probably get maybe 1 or 2 a day.
Yeah, I didn't expect much there.
Not much on there. Like I said, I get a couple phone calls a day usually. Sometimes I don't get a couple phone calls for a couple days, and all of a sudden, boom, I get 4 or 5 in a day, just random stuff.
Do you see any like the Facebook, the new phone book, and business cards, word of mouth, whatever, you get a couple calls.
Yeah.
You see your calls kind of generating there?
Yeah, because I'll go out, and this last week, actually, I went out and threw business cards to a few local businesses and talked to some people, sent out some emails, really trying to get some more bigger industrial type work, and a few replies, a few haven't replied yet. You know.
Have you ever considered having somebody else market it,
I kind of have some,
or at least help with it, or
I wouldn't mind maybe a little bit help if they could get me the type of business I wanted.
Obviously, but if it had to be worth it. But I was just wondering, some people are very staunch about it, but
I don't take any help.
Exactly.
I'm willing to pay someone if they can do a good job. I don't care.
I'm in the same boat because you can only do so much in a day yourself, and
And
there's that point where you just have to do less, or something has to get cut out.
Yeah, I mean, if I could clone myself and take business cards everywhere in town or talk to everyone, that'd be sweet. But talking in person is pretty good sometimes too.
Oh, you'll always. I mean, that's always.
That's how I like it,
That's the best way to do it for sure.
I always try to tell the customer, if they email or we're like, yeah, let's meet up, talk in person, or whatever, go over the project or whatever,
Yeah. But have you ever gotten a job from Instagram?
I built stuff and shipped it out on Instagram, but actual local job here, maybe one person. Like Instagram does not do good for me.
It does horrible in Douglas County. Absolutely terrible.
I've shipped,
but you've had customers reach out to you. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
You've generated business from Instagram.
I have. So like my 500 conversions, I don't think I've ever done a local one ever. I've always done far away.
I only know of one here.
The closest one I ever did for someone was probably Grants Pass. Besides that, I did guy in Washington, guy in South Carolina, Northern California, Southern California, a few others I can't remember, but yeah, they'll either ship me the frame, or if I can find a local frame or if I have one, they'll give you the money up front and part of it, and start going together and ship it back to me wherever it is.
You never did one in Oahu, did you?
I don't think so.
For a guy there, I sold a frame to a guy there who's swapping. I think he did it himself though. I never saw it after. I just palleted it and sent it to him when I was on Maui.
Oh, no, be cool. But yeah, I built other truck parts and sent them over. Built a lot of random things. People see something I built, like, hey, can you build me one? I'm like, yeah.
So what you're saying is that if you do your social media and your marketing on there correctly, you can generate business from it?
Yeah. Yeah, if you, I think the best thing is if you have a product to sell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you have like something easy, simple to sell.
That you can productize and
be
consistent with.
Yeah, I don't mind doing customer projects, but I personally, because then you're on a timeline with them, which, yeah, that's how it is.
It's here or there.
I like really either repair work, or I really just I'll build something and then sell it on my time, like whenever I want.
I'm right there with you.
I like repair work. I'll always take a repair job. It's my favorite. Mm-hmm. It's challenging. It's usually really ugly, which I really like fixing broken, nasty stuff.
Yeah, to make it look nice and have something that was horrible come out and be useful and nice.
Exactly. Or, I'm like, people ask me, what kind of work do you like to do? I'm like, well, I'm like two ends, like polar opposites. I like doing big, heavy, nasty repairs or builds, or I like doing high-end TIG work, like stainless, titanium, weird stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. But that stuff you can market else. Those exhaust tips and all that, the fancy truck stuff, and those are small enough to ship
I know people who do like exhaust tips, like what's the one local?
Indet.
Yeah, and they're cool. I'm just not.
I was just using that for an example because they are local.
Yeah, and exactly. That's what I was thinking of.
I don't mind giving those. I like giving those guys a plug. They make a good product.
They do good work, but I'm not really into building exhaust tips. I might.
No, but something that's small like that is what
something small that you can ship easy. It's not expensive. Stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like I built a while back some LS motor mounts for this rat rod my buddy and I were building, and someone just saw a picture. I'm like, "Can you send me a set?" I'm like, "Yeah." They weren't for sale. I wasn't gonna sell them. Right. But I'm like, "Well, yeah. I got obviously I'll cut them out and weld them together for them."
And you sent them to where?
Oh crap! I don't.
It wasn't Myrtle Creek or Dillon.
No, it was South Dakota.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's far away.
So but that was all because
They
you
saw what
because you did something on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sure you get the same static idea that it's nobody uses it. It's not viable. It's not, you know, you're wasting your time. You're fiddling around. You're being, you know, you're doing too much art stuff.
Yeah.
You're playing with your phone. Yeah, all that.
Yeah, it's hard. If people are like Instagram, they're like, oh, I do my business. They're like, business, that's a play. You know, they think social media kind of like. Some people realize you do run business. People have full-time businesses that they run only on Instagram, and that's how they make their living, you know? And
I know a dozen people right around that I could be to their house in half an hour that do.
Right. Exactly.
And I know several people that just do YouTube and stuff like that full time. Live in Douglas County residents.
Right.
And
yeah, there's a guy I know who has a YouTube channel, and it's amazing.
was yours?
Yeah. His channel's amazing. I've known that guy for...
Yeah, Essential Craftsman.
Yeah, I've known him for a long time. I haven't seen him in a while, unfortunately, but...
Yeah, that's an impressive site they got.
Yeah.
I saw him last year, talked to him about it.
Yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, like there's... Like I think like on Instagram around Douglas County, I don't get much work from Instagram around Douglas County. It's always somewhere else. Mm-hmm. On Facebook, it's more like I get work from Facebook around Douglas County.
Right. It's more local.
More local, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting, but what I was kind of driving at is, you know, if you're in business today, or especially if you're starting a business, and you're not established, you're not North Star, you know, you've been there forever, you know, you're starting a business, and it is one of it. It makes things possible that weren't possible 10 years ago or 15 years ago. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It's a lot easier to get work. It makes it easier.
And it gets your portfolio out there. It's a means of communication. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of work, but I don't think I think businesses that aren't using it are not long for the world. You know, that aren't established or that are trying to come up. Or
yeah, if you're like a new business, you need to post so people know who you are. Unless somehow you got really lucky and just got in with some big contract, got a bunch of work, and like, yeah, that can happen, and you get known like that, which that happens. But, you know, it doesn't always work like that, so.
And you almost have to, like the business image is like, did you do your logo or who did your logo?
My buddy, Travis.
Yeah.
He did the logo.
It's well done. It's perfect.
It's nice. It's simple. It's clean. And, you know, they're on my business card. They're on everything. Actually, I was going to go talk to him this last week about new business cards, but I was pretty sick, so maybe this week we're going to do the same thing, and probably same logo, and then just, you know.
Oh, I wouldn't change that ever.
No, I've liked it. It's simple. It's clean. I've seen some logos where you're like, oh, what's that say? It's just like really cluttered, and that's pretty simple. It just says what it is. H4 Fabworks. Pretty simple.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can see it, like...
You can see it.
You can see it on your cover, yeah.
Right. You know, I've seen some people's, you know, like on their Instagram, their profile pic, it's just a bunch of, like, letters and numbers. Like, I can't, you know, you got to kind of look.
Like Jason's, I just know it because it's got that safety green vest on, you know? He's got the only one.
It pops up. You see it.
You see it, you know, like, it's just a picture of a bright green vest.
Yeah, it's like it catches your eye. And, you know, when you're scrolling on the feed or stuff that's bright kind of catches your eye. And I notice, like, my logo, it's just...
That green really pops up.
The green pops. It's simple, so you just see it.
And a lot of people have dark mode on, so it stands out even more with light background.
Exactly.
But it's little things like that. I mean, I bet you that alone, you know, keeps you up in your story and stuff like that. Because I noticed you posted that a lot.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I posted, I think, a while back about... I think I said something. I used that logo and said, I got my business license officially or whatever. Use that. A few things like that. You know, I use it because it's recognized.
But people grab onto it, I would imagine. And even though it's just two letters put together in Photoshop, it cuts out on your plasma well. Like those little cutouts you did.
You know what's crazy? I have never... I have cut out like my H4, just for like weld-on things. I've never cut myself out of business sign yet. That's how it works. So I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, I've never cut one out for myself.
I'll cut you one on the router out of wood, so it'll be different.
I need to do it one day, but whatever. I'll be kind of cool.
We'll do you a wood one, so it's just completely out of place.
Heck yeah. I'm like, yeah, welcome to my metal shop with this wood sign.
Big wood sign.
I don't know if I'll do a big fancy one, but I mean, realistically, where my shop is, it's not like a really well public place. So I mean, if someone shows up out there, they'll see it. It'd be sweet.
But you can do little weld-ons with those, and they don't have to be huge because you don't have a big mountain scene and a piece of equipment or something, and a whole welder or something, you know. So you can just make them small, tack them on there.
Yeah, I have a bunch of those little weld-on things for random projects. I did on my Instagram a little bit back. I did a headache rack for a customer. And I had some really nice stainless ones, laser cut out, and then I drilled and tapped them and stuck them on the outside of the headache rack. Right tight on the edge here, it just looks so nice. Yeah. Because the headache rack was like a wrinkled textured black, and the bright shiny silver logo. Yeah. It just pops. So.
It looked like something that was commercially built or something.
It did. It kind of I'm like, dang, that's pretty sweet. Huh. I was pretty impressed. Yeah. And then I did a hydraulic tank. A week or two ago for a guy, just did my logo, just a big rectangle, almost like we put on equipment buckets for like a company logo. And same thing, H4, stuck it on there, and just it'll be seen. It looks decent. No, it doesn't stand out too bad.
So it takes you a minute to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I already had the file for it. I just for instance, I had the file for that when I cut it. It took me a couple minutes to resize it. Nothing crazy. I had extra material already on my table, so I'm like, okay, I'll burn out a few of them right here, put them in a pile. When I need one, I clean it up and weld it on.
But it takes a few minutes to set that up, and then once you have them, you can stick them on there, and people see them. Okay. If you skip that step, if you omit those few minutes because you're in a hurry, or whatever else, people don't see it.
Well, yeah, so like my logo.
They don't see who did it, they just see that.
Yeah, exactly. They just see, oh, that's a cool thing. Like, for instance, my logo, people around town kind of know it, some people do. If they happen to go by that guy's pickup and see the H4, like, oh, Hogan did that, or oh, that H4.
Oh, I know everybody that's in the, is paying attention around here sees it.
They're going to see that, and so I feel like I can just put that on stuff. People will just kind of start seeing it, kind of know. They don't have to ask, or, if the guy's driving down the road, they can't, hey, who built that headache rack? I mean, they can't stop anyone, so. Yeah, I think, like on the dump truck, I'd be driving around and someone's going to look over and see the logo on the side of the tank. So.
Yeah, or they're in a parking lot or the site or job site or yard or wherever. But that if you skip that step, that hour or two, whatever it took you.
Another just free advertisement.
It seems like you would have just flushed an opportunity down the toilet by not.
You never know who's going to see it.
Yeah, just like posting a reel. You never know who's going to see it.
Exactly.
And, not that it's the same thing, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, different but same, I guess.
It's getting your product and services in front of people so that they can utilize them more.
Right. I'm trying to do more of that lately. I'm fairly busy enough to keep me going, but I want to be more busy with bigger, better jobs. So I've really pushed the last week or two to get that kind of work.
Yeah, you want a wait list of
the
schedule.
Sometimes there is a wait list for certain stuff, and it kind of goes and comes. Like sometimes they'll be like, I'm like 2 weeks out. Sometimes I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it today. It kind of just depends on what I got in the shop, what I can move and push around. And I still stress myself out a lot, and I try not to. But
it's just you, right?
Yeah. It's
just you haven't got any helpers or anything?
No, I do have my workers' comp set up and all that, and I will be taking a guy tomorrow for a quick little jog and look at a project. But, for the most part, it's almost always just me. If I do have someone help me in my shop, it's usually like a younger kid. I'm like, hey, I need some help picking up stuff, cleaning parts, stuff like that. There's not much I've had a few of my friends that I've worked with before do work with me, and I know what they can do. Saying, like, hey, I need this built. Go ahead and do it. I gotta do this, and boom, they can do it.
Oh, so you just sub it out, or farm it out?
Basically, I mean, I pay them a good wage, and I know what they can do. So they'll do stuff here and there, but it's basically just me. Like I don't really do that very often.
But even that is, if you have, a good helper is always nice to have.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times where it's like I just need an extra hand. I don't
Yeah.
need someone to have the knowledge or skill set I do.
Right.
I'm trained to teach them that, but I don't need that right now.
But but to pick stuff up, set it down, sweep the floor, like put stuff away, like it just saves a lot of time.
Yeah, I can have someone help me pick the shop up every day.
Bryce helps me all the time, and it's just like when it's just me, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's a lot of like you do the job and you're tired. You're like, oh crap, the shop's a mess, and you don't want to mess with it. So
It'll be a mess tomorrow if you don't.
exactly. And when you clean your shop, like, man, it's really nice.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
But if you have that helper to do that, then and if you can farm out stuff to your people and have a network of people, that's a
Yeah, and that's like the guys I used to work with. A couple of them are studs, and like they come out and do a project, and I know it's gonna be done right. Like,
but
really
they're all set up with their own businesses and stuff, so you can just hire them on as a.
Well, the guys I'm talking about still work full time somewhere.
Oh, okay.
So I basically hire them as an employee.
Okay.
That's how I do it. Just on my books
On a
as
part-time?
an employee.
Yeah.
Like a part-time employee or something.
Okay. Because I've been trying. That's something I've been working on a little side project. Is I haven't really pulled the trigger on it yet, but putting together like a network of people that for referrals and for I don't know exactly how to tie it together, but people always ask, "Oh, can you do this?" It's like, "Oh, I can't," but this guy can, or those questions it's constant. It's not it's just if you weld, they'll come to you for "Oh, can you put weld some stuff around my wood and do all this or whatever." It always gets mixed up, but because I run into stuff all the time, even with what we do, and I have a couple friends, they got big lasers or, other bigger equipment, big lathe or something that I don't have, and I don't want to have that stuff because
Yeah.
I use it twice a year.
Yeah, like a tubing bender. I don't even have one anymore. I used to have one, but I use it so little that I'm like, I got buddies that have really nice ones, but I need something bent. I'm like, hey, I get this bent. No problem. Boom, bust it out for me.
Yeah, but that stuff is if you can do it, if you can get it set up, it's good to have friends. But if you can, but from the business point of view, if you can set it up business to business where those resources are available, or you can use them, or other, everybody can utilize them, because that's why I'm coming to you for this cab guard, to plaza that stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, I got buddies who own fab shops, and I'll go to them for something that I don't have, and they'll come to me for something they don't have, and it works out.
Yeah, because I could go drive all over town and try and find weight and hear every excuse in the book about why it can't get cut out,
right?
Or I can just text it over to you and pick them up
Tomorrow. Exactly.
Because you'll understand what I'm, you know what I'm going for, and
Exactly.
a lot of that is really hard to get out. Like when you're doing custom stuff, when you go to other people and they don't see the same. They're not as they're not as close to the project or whatever, and a lot of that, a lot of what I deal with is customers that want something really particular, and probably the same as you do.
Yeah, certain times, and that's. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, I'm not the guy for it.
Yeah.
It depends.
But it's nice to be able to spread it around a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And there's jobs where I'm like, I know I can do it, and I should. I'm like, I'm so busy. Pass on to buddy. He can do it. He'll do good. I'm not worried.
I think it's good for the economy to do that. It's good for everybody to, I see so much around here, like, the only way you can really word it is, people just shooting themselves in the foot all the time because the stubbornness, I guess, is really what it is. They're just not, they're holding on so tight to everything that nothing ever gets in or out.
Right.
And including money.
Yeah.
So I've been really focused on how to get around that, in a rural community. Mm-hmm. And it's tough. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
But that's what interested me so much. How you're doing the online and kind of the hybrid style.
Yeah, you almost have to. I can't rely on only Douglas County for everything all the time. Mm-hmm. Like for instance, tomorrow I'm going up north to a mill to do work for them, drop off some parts, and they're a good customer of mine, and I'd love to do more work up north, but Um, yeah, I'm trying to get more and more stuff, and it's not all going to be in Douglas County, unfortunately. Be cool. There's a lot of work here. Just try to get it sometimes.
Well, there's a lot of people standing in line for it.
Yeah, stand in line, or someone already knows someone that has a guy already, so trying to swoop in there or be the next guy is kind of hard.
It's really crowded. The amount of people that have moved here has changed the landscape a lot. It used to be a lot. It seemed like it was a lot more even. Like there was, enough. The amount of people that were doing the work met the need. Now it seems like there's more people with the skills and the.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. So when I first got my plasma table, as far as I knew, it was a pretty long time ago.
No one.
I only knew like 3 people. Personally, knew 3 people who had one. And now, it's pretty common. A lot of people have them now.
Yeah, you walk into people's houses and they got one on the kitchen counter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and they're.
But they haven't used it in 3 years.
Yeah, stuff like that. And there's, people throwing together, setups that are super cheap, unfortunately. And that, it's a headache too. I've seen that. And they're, hey, how do you get this to work? And I bought this. And I'm like, man, you bought a crappy one, unfortunately. I've seen more and more people buy plasma tables, do more welding, work themselves, and which I always like seeing stuff like that. It's cool. And yeah, it might take some business from me, but it's probably the business I don't really want anymore. That's like, that used to be maybe my side business kind of stuff, or my side work when I was younger. I see people, that, they do that side work still, which I like seeing that. As long as they're not doing anything sketchy and they're doing quality work. Because I do see, I have seen this lately in town too. There's a few, I've seen them around like on posts or whatever, and they post something they built, and I'm like, man, that's either I think it's unsafe or it's, they could probably do a little better, or, you gotta start somewhere, but I don't like seeing unsafe stuff be done. That's not good. That's not good at all.
No, that's, there's basically you're in the unlicensed contractor phase, a stage at that, that's.
Like there's stuff, like I used to do like straight axle swaps on trucks and stuff like that, and now it's like, I had a customer ask me a while back to do one, I'm like, I'm just not going to do it because of my insurance, and like I know I could do it, obviously, I'm not worried, but it's one of those things, it's kind of like, my insurance is set up for other type work, and I just don't really want to mess with that,
It's a little more risk than you really need to take on.
Yeah, and even though it's something I'm not worried about it. It's just, God, you always think like that crazy like 0.5% chance or something stupid, Because I've done plenty of work like that. But anyway, passed on to someone else, and guy knocked it out of the park, and it looked like it did fine, but I think he still does the side work, so just not something I want to do. I don't do too much certain vehicle things I can do, but I talked to I talked to my insurance guy about certain vehicle stuff. He's like, yeah, leave vehicles out of it, and it's just. So I just do big industrial stuff. I like it more anyway.
Yeah, it's more bread and butter anyway.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense to eliminate the risk and then just get the.
I can get insurance for it. And it was just, he said it would be harder if I say anything with vehicles, anything like welding in vehicles. He says they just don't like it. Insurance companies are just sticklers about it. It's kind of weird, but I'm like, okay. He was telling me if I were to build parts and the customer installed them, probably not a big deal at all. But if you do like any modification, welding on the vehicle, stuff like that, if they got in a wreck or if something happened, even if nothing you did broke, they could blame it, or they'd find a way out of it.
Oh yeah.
So he told me about that. I'm like, I won't do stuff like that anymore.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily applicable to like a hydraulic tank for a truck or anything. That's not really. That's not just really. That's an equipment. Yeah,
if that thing like broke or popped or something crazy, it'd be. Well, if it broke, it'd be. You have to hit it with a truck or something. That thing was stout. It was heavy. Stuff like that. Like I know what I can build and how it needs to be built. Pretty much, I'm not no engineer, but.
Oh, I drive around with one of your front ends under my pickup.
And like my old second gen, I built the suspension for it. Welded everything myself. Built it all. Built all the brackets. Welded the brackets to the frame. drove that thing around for years and years with 40s on it. Just lets my own, so a little different.
Right. When you're trying to do it for the public, it's a different story, especially when you got insurance and everything else.
Yeah.
So I got one last question, and I'll probably wrap this up. But it came up a few times. I never got a chance to hit on it. You were talking about billing and shop time, labor, costs and stuff like that.
Right.
A lot of people I see that own their own business, they don't value their time.
Right.
So have you figured out an hourly that you kind of assign to your time?
Of course. So when I was the side business thing, I was like, I kept it like 75 an hour side business, but then I do like half-hour minimum, or I'd do it for $20, I'd do it for $40. Wouldn't even take me an hour. I never felt good charging that. Now I do 85 in the shop, and when I'm out in the field, it's 100 minimum, and then usually with it, like some stuff I do, it'll be more than that. Kind of depends what it is out in the field, of course. If I'm gonna go do a repair, I have to go drive somewhere, just a quick repair or whatever, I still have a couple hour minimum. So if it takes me 5 minutes to weld, I'm still gonna charge you probably 3 hours to do it.
Most people are accustomed. Most customers are accustomed.
They kind of know that. Yeah, and I tell customers, I'm like, if they want a project done, I'm like, well, can you bring it to my shop? Can I have it in my shop? Like, well, yeah, probably. I'm just saying, if I do it out here, I'm gonna charge more. If I do it in my shop, it'll be a little cheaper. And for me, I feel like it's in my shop. It's my own element. I have all my tools. I don't have to drive my truck anywhere. So I can charge. I just do 85. It works.
And you probably get a little better. Usually get a little better results in your own. Shop.
If you're in a shop,
depending on what you're doing.
Even if I'm just at my, say I'm building something outside my shop because it's too big, I still have all my stuff.
No, but you have everything. You don't have to run to the store for this or that.
Exactly. So I do that. I'm welding titanium, stainless, aluminum. I usually charge $100 at least.
Well, the materials are just eating your house and home, aren't they?
Trying to weld titanium is, if you've never welded it, it's amazing to weld. It welds super nice, but the amount of argon you need to cover something is double what I normally use for anything else. It's double. So
that's what I want to hit on. Bottle of argon, what's that cost you now?
The bottle I have, I think, is a 150. It's not that big. It's a little smaller. Man, I think it's around $70.
And it'll last you 2-3 weeks?
It depends.
If you're going at it, on average.
Yeah, on average, if I'm on my TIG welder, I
use the same shield gas and everything.
Pretty much. TIG welding, straight argon, MIG welding, I usually use a 25, 75.
CO2.
Yeah, so then I can dual shield if I need to or whatever. I got a couple bottles for that, for my mobile stuff, and one for my little MIG welder. That argon bottle, if I'm just doing on my TIG welder, I'm just doing basic projects here and there, throughout the week, just on steel. Yeah, a bottle will last me all week, maybe a couple weeks, really easy. If I'm welding titanium, that bottle could last me 1 day. It's because you have to back purge it, and you factor it into the job. I've had jobs where I took 3 bottles of argon to do one job, and it took me a week. So
what I was driving at was the materials cost, the overhead.
Yeah.
So that bottle is going to cost you $100.
Yeah.
I don't know what that one. I think that was 120 to fill right now. It's 90.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It's 90/10, but that'll last. That'll last me 4 months in here probably.
Yeah, see, that should last a while. It's a big bottle, but if you're.
But it's not just that. It's liners for the nozzle. It's tips. It's what's a roll of wire running?
I just bought a roll.
33 or something.
Man, I just bought a big roll of wire the other day. It was $170 something bucks.
Yeah,
because it was dual shield.
Standard one that fit in there, right?
Yeah, a 33-pound roll, or 30-something-pound roll.
Oh, but it was shielded wire.
It was.
Yeah.
It's expensive. Before that, I remember the last one I bought, I think it was about 100 or so, but that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, but even those, just that standard stuff, $75 or $80 a roll.
Yeah, I'd say that it's pretty expensive.
Those little ones were $35 at Haeber Freights.
So my MIG welder I got, the one I keep in my shop, he uses the 10-pound rolls. I can't remember what they are. They're not that bad. But like I said, that dual shield,
But you rip through them pretty quick.
I do rip through them pretty quick. I mean, usually I'm not doing anything crazy big like that. If I'm doing something big, I'll use my suitcase welder with like 045, 052, big stuff.
Something you can spray with.
Something I can big time, and I'll run it off my Trailblazer welder.
And then you can really burn some dollar bills.
Yeah, when I did that bucket repair, I was welding with that. I mean, I was an inch and a quarter plate, so big stuff.
Yeah, and you're putting 3 or 4 passes on it.
Yeah, yeah. A couple spots one spot I had like 7 passes. It was gnarly.
Yeah, just pouring money in there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's.
What's that running? When you're spraying like that? What do you think that's running a minute? Like just materials.
Like cost wise.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Because that gas, you can hear it. The feed on the welder's going 100%.
So
I've
never really broke it down that far. That's not really.
Or even in an hour, like if you do that for an hour.
I think. Let's see how much it would cost. I was running 40 CFH. I have to bust out the calculators and pencils to figure that out.
Because I know on that machine, like that, if you sprayed, because we used to do a lot of undercarriages with it.
Yeah.
And same thing, digging it out with an air arc and filling it back in. But it would go 3 days on that bottle and 3/4 of a roll of wire.
Yeah, that's getting after it.
And it would, but I mean, that's just all day. It's all day. Just.
So I bought a brand new bottle for that project. Brand new spool of wire, all that. And when I was done, that bottle actually, I bet I had 75% of the bottle left.
So it held up pretty good.
It held up pretty good. I was running about 35, 40 CFH.
But you were running shielded wire too.
I was.
So you didn't need as much gas.
Yeah, it wasn't windy out, so I've always kind of run 35, 40 CFH on that stuff. Pretty standard. You can go a little higher if you need to, but I think I was running around there. I'm like, I kept lowering it. I'm like, well, if it's not.
Yeah, because that's what we said. We had wind and stuff, so
yeah, you crank it up. Yeah, it didn't do too bad. And the roll of wire, I mean, I ran a lot of wire, and it's still a lot there.
Yeah, you watch the rail just.
Yeah, just go and go. And I still have a lot of wire left, so.
Yeah. But it gets expensive, and then you got the power to run it or the gas if you're running the Trailblazer or whatever.
I mean, okay, so like right off the bat, like people are like, well, I want to do this, whatever. I'm like,
that's 5 grinding pads.
I mean, think about some of the equipment even that people don't realize, like that I have, like the plasma table. If I want to buy my plasma table that I got, like 6 years ago, because they don't technically make that model anymore. It's an older model. I think you're around almost 30 grand for it. My welder I just bought, super stoked about though. It was 12,000. The suitcase welder was 4,000. Plus the gun for it was $450 or whatever.
What? Who made it?
So it's a Miller suitcase, and the MIG gun is a crap. I can't remember.
It's Miller head in though.
No, it's a different company. Yeah, it's a Miller suitcase welder, but then the actual MIG gun is something else. It's a super nice one.
But you can MIG take your arc off of it.
On the suitcase welder, no, but on
your Trailblazer.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I was air arcing with it, and then I hooked up my suitcase to the MIG welding or dual shield, whatever you want to call it. Stick welded with it, and I haven't TIGged with it yet. But I'm gonna get a TIG set up for it just so I can.
Yeah.
Be nice just to do it.
That's an accessory for it, pretty much.
It's not that much. That's pretty cheap accessories. Right. All you really do is you have your ground, your power, a bottle with your gas, and then your TIG lead, which the one I want is like I think $200.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Yeah, and it's a nice little something to have in your pocket.
Yeah, and there's that. That's some of my main stuff. I do have another portable welder. It's my first one I bought, a Haeber, and they're like $5 grand right now or something like that. I got a smoking deal on it.
Good generator.
Yeah, great generator. I mean, exactly. Snow, lose power at the house, generator. But then you think about all the hand tools I got. You got like a welding position there. I have, press brake. Just all this other crap, And to be efficient, don't think I'm even efficient all the way. You got to have a lot of stuff, unless you're a guy who doesn't do jobs like little projects, and they only go out and repair stuff, or only go out in the field and work at mills or facilities, and you don't really need a whole lot. You need a lot of hand tools. You need good welders.
So that's the difference between welding and fabrication.
I do, yeah. I mean,
You're fabricating.
I do like both. So it's like you have to have a little bit of both. Because like my welding, work truck, it's set up to be mobile. So if someone calls me, hey, I broke this crap, whatever, I can just throw in a couple extra tools, whatever, I need a bottle, whatever, boom, go drive out there and fix it. The work truck was $20,000, so I mean,
that's what I was driving at for the valuing your time and the value of your tools and
it's insane.
Shop and all. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, that's what I could tell a customer. I'm like, yeah, I have $100,000 wrapped up in my business just with tools and stuff like that. And they're like, what the? I'm like, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, this is $80,000 of a year.
Yeah.
Just poured into it. I don't even own the building.
Right. By the time if I really sit there and add everything up, I want to one day. I've done it a couple of times. I haven't done it in a few years.
It makes your stomach hurt.
Yeah, that's a lot of crap. Yeah, and then consumables alone. And then
the consumables are what actually, like when you have a welder, they're relatively maintenance free other than the consumable stuff,
right?
Tips, liners, and the gas and stuff, wire, chop saws and grinders, and you got to have all the blades. I mean, and you can just rip through those blades and discs.
Flat discs are expensive. They're awesome. They're expensive though.
They're so expensive.
Especially a good one. Like I like the Walter ones.
Yeah, like $12.
The best ones they make.
They're $12-15 now, I think.
They're expensive.
Yeah.
I think the cheap's God, I haven't bought them in a while, but yeah, so probably $10-12.
We were just looking at some the other day. And
they're like my favorite though.
I grabbed a few, but they don't even last very long.
Nothing really
Nothing lasts very long.
Stone lasts very long.
Yeah. But it doesn't look good.
It does. A lot of times if I know I have to grind a lot, I'll take a stone to it until I'm near the end, then I'll flat disc it or DA the last bit. It'd be kind of crazy. You get an 80 grit DA and it'll do some work.
It will.
And it looks nice.
Yeah, we did those legs with a palm sander.
Yeah, I mean, I put an 80 grit on there, a 60 grit, and it does some work. And it looks really nice too.
Yeah, it smooths it up good.
Smooths it up quick.
If you've been over it with those flap discs and stuff already too, it just glosses it up.
Yeah, if I'm careful with the flap disc and then don't groove it too much or anything. Some of those are pretty rough. And then go over with the DA, looks awesome.
But when somebody comes to that they think it's a $20 project, but you got to talk to them for 20 minutes.
So now it's like a $50 project.
Right. Because if your time's worth something, then you got to drag it in the shop and figure out what you're
that's the thing. So someone like, hey, I got something for you. I'm like, send me a picture. Let me see it. And I'll tell you over the phone if it's what I'm going to kind of rough guess at. So everyone wants to know a price.
Mm-hmm. Which is, it's a fair question.
Yeah, of course. And you got to kind of know if you're, $500 or $5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what am I working with here?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at how much stuff is. And if it takes me a little longer and I tell the customer it's going to be this much, I'll stick to it. But I'm been pretty good at getting it really close. I've been doing it long enough to be decent. Still mess up, of course, but...
Oh, it's tough.
I'll tell the customer, they're like, I need this part done. I'm like, give me a couple pictures, let me think about it. I'm like, all right, it'll be, 1 hour time. $85. And they're like, okay, yeah, whatever. An hour and a half, whatever.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you got even if it is a 20-minute project, it's cleaning it up. It's not even that they don't know it. It's still an hour or two. Yeah,
that's the thing. There's plenty of jobs that some of the customer might think might be a little more than what I think it's going to take. They're it might take, it's a pretty hard project to me. I'm like, 10 minutes. And it might take a half hour, but there's always a lot to it, And I'll never be one of those guys who just absolutely just bends over a customer and lets him have it. I'm just not like that. I just need enough to do what I need to do, get by. I'm not here to be rich off one job.
But and that's exactly what customers feel like. You're just raking them over the coals because it's $50 or $100 of your time and labor to do their $20 project that they want for $20. There's no meeting in the middle there. It's I'm losing money to do your $20 job.
Some jobs I'll do and I'm like, I might just barely break even or whatever, but it's either a good customer or I know they potentially be a good customer.
Somehow you've rationalized it.
Yeah, I kind of rationalized, like, oh no, it's fine. They'll send me a job like in a week for $100,000. Don't worry. Yeah, so something like that.
Exactly. Well, I guess go ahead and wrap this up. You probably got stuff to do.
Yeah, you know, get some dinner done for family and whatnot.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you coming in. It was,
Thanks, it's been fun.
I've been wanting to do this for a while, so we'll probably do it again one of these days, or take a trip to your shop or something.
Yeah.
Get your Instagram going.
Yeah, I'll clean my shop first. So.
Copy. All right, I'm gonna shut this off.
Cool.